You know that moment. You're dressed. Maybe not fully dressed, but at least emotionally dressed. You told your friend you'd be there at 7. You even meant it when you said, "I'm excited." And then 5:43 p.m. hits and something shifts. Suddenly, your couch feels safer. Your room feels warmer. Your energy feels lower. You start calculating how long it would take to get there. You imagine the noise, the small talk, the effort of smiling. And then you do it. You send the text. "Hey, I'm so sorry. Something came up," but nothing came up. Except your brain. Or maybe you're on the other side of this. Maybe you're the one staring at your phone thinking, "Why do they always cancel at the last minute? Is it me? Do they not care?" And the easy answer feels obvious. They're flaky. They're selfish. They're unreliable. But the psychology? It's far more interesting than that. Let me show you what's really happening in the mind of someone who cancels plans at the last minute. First, we need to understand something about the human brain. It makes decisions in 2 different emotional time zones. When you say yes to plans, you're usually in future you mode. Future you is optimistic. Future you imagines having energy. Future you sees the social glow, the laughter, the stories you'll tell afterward. Future you overestimates your stamina and underestimates your anxiety. Future you is brave. But when the time actually arrives, present you takes over, and present you is dealing with real-time energy levels, real-time stress, real-time emotions. Present you is tired from work. Present, you remembers that awkward moment from last week. Present, you just wants comfort. Psychologists call this the intention-action gap. We genuinely intend to show up. We even picture ourselves doing it. But when the emotional cost becomes immediate instead of abstract, our brain recalculates. And here's where it gets fascinating. Your brain is wired to avoid discomfort more strongly than it is wired to pursue pleasure. There's a famous principle in psychology called loss aversion. We feel losses more intensely than gains. The potential awkwardness, exhaustion, or overstimulation of going out feels heavier than the potential fun. So in the moment, canceling feels like relief. And relief is addictive. When someone cancels and feels that immediate drop in anxiety, "Oh, thank God, I don't have to go," their brain learns something. It learns that avoidance reduces stress. And the next time anxiety appears, the brain suggests the same solution. Cancel, escape, restore safety. This doesn't automatically mean someone is rude or uncaring. Often, it means their nervous system is overwhelmed. Think about social anxiety for a second. Even mild, subtle social anxiety. It doesn't always look like panic attacks. Sometimes it looks like overthinking what to wear. Replaying conversations before they happen. Imagining worst-case scenarios. That mental rehearsal is exhausting. By the time the event actually arrives, the person has already lived it in their head 20 times. So when they cancel, it's not about you. It's about self-preservation. But anxiety isn't the only player here. There's also energy economics. Some people are introverted. Not in the trendy "I love books and coffee" way, but in the neurological sense. Social interaction drains them. Not because they dislike people, but because their brains process stimulation more intensely. Noise, expressions, subtle social cues, it's all data. And data requires energy. If their week has already been demanding, the cost of going out might feel too high, so the brain chooses conservation. Now here's something even more uncomfortable. Sometimes canceling is about identity. We live in a culture obsessed with productivity and busyness. People say yes to things because saying no feels like rejection, or selfishness, or weakness. So they agree to plans in the moment because they want to be seen as social, spontaneous, fun. But later, alone, their authentic preferences resurface. I don't actually want to go. And instead of having practiced boundaries earlier, they escape at the last second. In a strange way, last-minute cancelers are often people who struggle to disappoint others up front, so they disappoint them later. There's also decision fatigue. After making dozens of decisions throughout the day, your brain's self-control decreases. Studies show that the more decisions we make, the more likely we are to choose the easiest option by the end of the day. And what's easier? Staying home. Especially now. Technology has rewired social commitment. Decades ago, canceling required a phone call, an awkward conversation. You had to hear disappointment in someone's voice. Now it's a text. Low friction, emotionally distant. The cost of backing out is smaller, so the behavior increases. But I want to go deeper. Sometimes, canceling isn't about anxiety or energy. It's about emotional ambivalence. There's a psychological concept called approach avoidance conflict. It's when the same situation both attracts and repels you. You want connection, but you fear vulnerability. You want fun, but you dread judgment. You want to go, and you want to stay home. When the moment arrives, avoidance usually wins because it promises certainty. Connection is unpredictable. Comfort is guaranteed. And here's the paradox. The more someone cancels, the lonelier they may become. But the lonelier they become, the harder it feels to show up. A self-reinforcing loop. Now let's flip the perspective. If you're the one constantly canceled on, your brain may interpret it as rejection. Humans are wired for belonging. Social exclusion lights up the same brain regions as physical pain. So even a simple "I can't make it" can sting. But most last-minute cancellations are not judgments of your worth. They are negotiations inside someone else's nervous system. Understanding that doesn't erase the inconvenience, but it shifts the narrative from "they don't care about me" to "they may be struggling with something internal." And here's the part no one talks about. Sometimes canceling is actually growth trying to happen. Imagine someone who grew up feeling obligated to please everyone. They said yes to family events, yes to favors, yes to everything. Over time, resentment builds. Burnout builds. One day, they start experimenting with saying no. But they're not skilled at it yet, so they say yes impulsively and then panic later. The cancellation isn't flakiness, it's boundary training in progress. Messy, imperfect, human. Of course, there are also patterns where canceling becomes chronic avoidance, and that's when it's worth self-reflecting. Ask yourself, do I cancel because I'm genuinely exhausted or because I fear being seen? Do I cancel because I need rest or because I struggle with commitment? Am I protecting my peace? Or protecting myself from growth? There's a difference. Your comfort zone is sneaky. It disguises stagnation as safety. It whispers, "You'll be more energized tomorrow." It promises that staying home is self-care, and sometimes it is. But sometimes it's fear, wearing a bathrobe. The key isn't to shame yourself, it's to notice the pattern. If you frequently feel relief after canceling but regret later, that's data. If you feel consistent dread before events but joy during them, that's also data. Your brain is learning from every decision you make. And here's something empowering. Showing up builds emotional resilience. Every time you attend something you were mildly anxious about and survive it, maybe even enjoy it, you teach your brain that discomfort isn't danger. That rewires future reactions. It lowers the intensity next time. Avoidance shrinks your world. Exposure expands it. But let's be compassionate here. Rest is real. Burnout is real. Social overload is real. The solution isn't forcing yourself to attend everything. It's becoming honest earlier in the process. Instead of "yes, I'll be there," followed by a 6 p.m. panic text, what if you practiced slower yeses? "I'm not sure yet. Let me check how my week feels." That small boundary can prevent the last-minute collapse. Because ultimately, canceling plans at the last minute isn't about laziness. It's about emotional forecasting errors, nervous system regulation, fear of discomfort, and sometimes unpracticed boundaries. It's about the constant negotiation between who you want to be and how you feel in the moment. And that negotiation? That's deeply human. We are creatures of mood, of energy cycles, of social hunger and social fatigue. We are not robots programmed to execute every intention flawlessly. So if you're the canceler, maybe the work isn't be more disciplined. Maybe it's understand your energy patterns. Maybe it's scheduling fewer but more meaningful plans. Maybe it's learning to say no earlier. Maybe it's gently challenging yourself to show up once in a while, even when it's uncomfortable. And if you're the one being canceled on, maybe the work isn't take it personally. Maybe it's communicating clearly about how it makes you feel. Maybe it's choosing friends whose rhythms align with yours. Maybe it's extending grace while still protecting your time. Because relationships thrive on reliability, yes, but they also thrive on empathy. At the end of the day, canceling plans is rarely about not caring. It's usually about the invisible weight someone is carrying in that moment. So the next time you feel that 5:43 p.m. shift, pause. Ask yourself, is this exhaustion? Is this fear? Is this growth trying to stretch me? And then decide consciously, not automatically. Because every time you choose deliberately instead of reflexively, you strengthen self-awareness. And self-awareness is the foundation of psychological freedom. So tell me, are you the last-minute canceler? Or the one left staring at your phone? And more importantly, what do you think your brain has been protecting you from all along? If this made you rethink something about yourself or someone in your life, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you enjoy diving into the psychology behind everyday behaviors like this, stick around. There's a lot more happening in your mind than you realize.